This chapter really got to me, and I really actually enjoyed it. Talk about build up with characters, man. I love how they're constructing these two characters in this series, and this chapter was definitely a great example of what the author is doing for each individual character. Now, before I continue, a few things. There is going to be a giveaway happening in the next few days. It should start on September the 15th. So make sure you guys subscribe to my channel so you guys don't miss it. It is one of the requirements. I will release the video here in my channel later on that day. If you guys want to further support my channel, you guys can always follow me on social media. TikTok or Twitter are probably the best ones to follow me in at the moment. And lastly, guys, there is a Discord open for you guys to join in and just conversate about manga and anime. You guys can join in the description below. There's a link right there. Okay. Asahina Wakaba to Marumaru na Kareshi. Kareshi, sorry. Long name, real long name, and I hope they do a little bit better job at shortening the name for the English name, but probably not. A lot of the times when they have a long name in Japanese, they keep the long name in English, and that's part of the joke. But this one, I don't think it's a joke. I think this one is just kind of a long name on itself. But we follow the life of Asahina, a beautiful girl who is being bullied and mocked and being forced to date Haruto without Haruto knowing. And Haruto is a heavy-set boy who didn't really think he was going to find a girl that actually liked him, and he's best friends with the two big popular guys of the school, so people don't really like him because he doesn't seem to fit in with those two guys. But anyways, you guys can see more of that in my previous chapters. Today is chapter 6, and this is an interesting chapter. It's finally the end of the date, and it's another day, and Asahina is at school, and I guess she's reminiscing what has happened, and they don't really clearly tell us how much time has passed by, but she does express that each day has become easier and easier to just walk home with Haruto, and how she really generally enjoys his company, and how she really likes being with him and talking with him. But then at school, the girls bully her, and these girls are horrible. They keep insisting that she needs to do certain things to move on the relationship, and they make fun of her how you're so innocent, you never had a boyfriend, so you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, but we need to move this on because we're not going to take this game forever. And they tell her that in her next date she needs to kiss Haruto, and she takes it back. She doesn't want to kiss Haruto, and we go back to her mentality. Her mentality is, this guy is a really good guy. She likes him as a friend, and yeah, she friend zoned him, and that's about it. That she doesn't want any more past that. So it's even hard for her to hold hands with him. So it obviously hits her like a ton of bricks, and I don't even know why she even continues doing this this lie, but she is. She shows up for the date, and Haruto doesn't show up. And after a long time of waiting, I'm talking about, I think, more than an hour, she decides to call him, and before she even calls him, he calls her. And essentially, the call is pretty short. He tells her that something very important came up, and he lost track of time, and he apologized and apologized and apologized, and I'm so sorry that I left you there waiting. She's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. So that's all of that. On her way back home, she bumps into the little kid that we see, I think, was it chapter 4, and he tells her a story about how he lost a certain item while wandering off because he was not paying attention to his dad, and Haruto helped him find the item. And on the way back to his father, he ran through a red light without noticing, and Haruto jumped and protected him from a moving car. Now Haruto did get hit, and he actually fell into a big pile of mud and hit himself. But to his claims, he was perfectly fine. He then decided to call Asahina, and that was that. Okay, Asahina hears about this and obviously realizes that he was late because of this, and part of it, you're thinking like, well, it was a good deed, right? So then you think, then what happened? Why didn't he show up to meet her? Well, on the way, I guess she tries to look for him, and on the way there, she noticed that Haruto's walking in a street, and he's covered in mud, and he doesn't look too happy. He looks a little bit in the dumps, and people are mocking him in the street, like he's gross, he looks nasty. Why doesn't he shower? He looks like a hobo. And, all these different comments that he's receiving. Which don't really seem like it's bothering him, and it does seem like something else is bothering him. And she figures it out because she stalks him, and it's kind of weird. But she's gonna approach him, but then his friends approach him, and he kind of doesn't do anything about it. And he tells Nami and his other friend of what's going on. And essentially, he tells them a very short version of he fell in a puddle. Right? He fell. He was clumsy. But then he goes on saying, they asked him, well, did you show up to the date? What happened to the date? And this is the thing that got me like, man, this guy's a cool guy. He said, I can live with being made fun of my entire life, but I can't live with myself if people made fun of Asahina because of me. And man, what a person. Obviously Asahina, I mean, we have a whole panel of her just in shock of what he said, because he had never been confessed to, and Asahina was his first person to confess to, and Asahina is a girl that is close to his heart now, and I think she's, on one side she's realizing that, I think in the other side she's also realizing that this can go very, very, very wrong at the end of the day. And it probably will. And I hope there's still a happy ending. There probably will be a happy ending. But still, it shows how much pain it's going to cause him. He is going through so many measures to really keep the relationship in a good place. And she is not really doing that. Right? It seems like she is, because she's kind of brushing things off, but the reason is not because she wants to brush things off, is because she is in this deal with these girls of she has to be in this relationship with him. So the chapter ends with her helping a little girl, and this kind of random thing, but she helps a little girl, and essentially the little girl tells her about how she loves her dog, and her dog is her everything, her best friend, that she can tell anything to her dog, and that her dog is just a very close person to her heart. And she tells him, and it's kind of weird because she compares him to a dog, but anyways, she tells Asahina, do you have someone like that? And Asahina immediately thinks of Haruto, and she's realizing that Haruto is maybe more than just a friend. Maybe my best friend. I don't know. I really like this chapter. That's how the chapter ends. It gives us so many stages of the relationship, and it shows us both sides. She's being tortured emotionally by these girls, and at the same time, she's trying to figure out what Haruto is to her. Is he a person that she really, really enjoys to be because it's a friend, or is he more than that? She doesn't know about love. It's her first boyfriend. So she can very much be confused about it all as well. Or is he just growing to her because of the things he says, the things he does? Even when she is not there, he's such a gentleman to her. And I'm glad that she was able to see that because, you know, a lot of guys and girls do things in a relationship behind the other person with the intentions of this is going to help the relationship. And sometimes in a relationship, it's because it doesn't have to be out in the open. This is something that you don't have to share to your couple because you did it out of love, yes, but at the same time, you still want to avoid that whole I don't want to make you feel guilty about it. So, there's things that are not said in a relationship that does help the relationship that sometimes because they weren't said, it it kind of does the opposite, right? And I feel people don't realize that everyone is like this. Every single person. We do certain things with certain intentions. And obviously, if you're going to a relationship, most of the time, you're going to do things that, it's going to help the relationship. I remember, um, doing something special for my first date and uh, taking an hour choosing clothes and trying to see, what clothes that I would have to wear where I would not look nerdy, I would look more presentable, and I would not, embarrass. I guess you can say that my now wife, because she was not into the stuff that I was precisely, and I didn't really want to make sure that she felt like she was with a special guy, and she doesn't know that. She doesn't have to know that. She doesn't have to know that I asked a bunch of guys about fashion and what I should be wearing and what I should not be wearing and stuff like that. So, it really personalizes it to a reader. And if you are in a relationship or getting into a relationship, man, this is it's a good series to read. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you have not done so by now, go watch the first 5 chapter reviews. You guys can also find other manga reviews and anime reviews in my channel. Thank you for your love and support, guys. And like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.